All right. Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jennifer Engel, and I am a hospice patient. I've been on hospice for 8 months now, and I do a Wednesday weekly update. Today is actually Monday, August 11th, and I posted on my YouTube Debunking Hospice, which is an hour-long video, so if you want to know more about that, check out YouTube. And then Tuesday, tonight, I'm going to post a room reveal. So if you or a patient or someone you know is thinking about home hospice, what are some things to think about when you're setting up that space for home hospice? I actually record videos ahead of time, and I was going to post that one on Wednesday, but I have a better update. So Wednesdays are just for like how I'm doing. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is starting on Saturday, I had a rally. That's the word that I like to use. So when you're on hospice, there's roller coasters. And I have been on a roller coaster for the past 8 months. When I first was put on hospice, I was doing okay. I could move around. I wasn't on oxygen all the time, things like that. I did have a bad cough. I might have been tired. I might have started to get a little bit weaker. And then in the middle of summer, I just kind of started to slide downhill, but I didn't realize I had colitis on top of cancer. So it was actually the colitis, not necessarily the cancer, that was making me feel so bad. So then I went to the hospital, and it took many weeks for kind of that those symptoms to kind of like start dissipating. And by the time I got out of the hospital, I had a rally. I was actually feeling a lot better. The transition from the hospital was brutal, to be honest. But as I continued to follow my notebook, well, here's what I'm going to say. What's the difference? How did I go from still kind of going downhill to now almost increasing my strength and energy? So one of the things that I've talked about is when you first hear that 6 months, I was basically just waiting to die. After the hospital, my mind did a total 180, and now my whole motto is live until I have no life left. And that's a very big mindset change. The other thing is that I had a nurse that I felt like wasn't really listening to me, and was kind of matching my own attitude about I'm going to die, so let's just manage your symptoms until you die. So then I started thinking about it, and it's like I feel like I really want someone who's going to listen to me so that they can help me live my best life while I still have life. So I did ask for a nurse change, and I would say that the biggest difference why I feel better and while I'm actually having a rally is that nurse actually listened to me. She sat with me for like 2 to 3 hours, listened to my biggest concerns. So that was the number one change. And we did some medication changes. So I'm now on steroids, and the steroids are helping me breathe better, and they're giving me a lot more energy. So that's number one. Having someone who will actually listen to you and actually want you to live your best life while you have life rather than just managing your death symptoms. And actually, that's one thing I talk about in debunking hospice. It isn't always a place to just go to die. If you find the right hospice, the right nurse, they actually want you to feel and live your best life. So it's not always a place to just go die and manage your symptoms. The 3 things that I had faced was pain, nausea, and breathing. So the other thing that I do attribute my rally to is that I did follow, and I'm still kind of following, a stricter diet. So I really do listen to my body, and I listen to what it needs and wants. And the reason why I do that is when I don't do that, I have a lot of pain and a lot of inflammation. So having a good nurse, but then also being very strict, has really turned me around to have this rally. And I'm not gonna lie, I do think it is also the steroids that is really helping me. And it's kind of interesting because now I was talking to a caregiver. I started like 165 when I started on hospice, and I'm down to like 115, so I dropped like 50 pounds. And I was using 2 canes to walk around, and I even bought a little walker because I'm basically homebound, and I would sit in the chair a lot during the day because I would feel full or I was tired or whatever. Now that I'm kind of on this rally, I'm changing my mindset again. So now I'm going to try to eat a little bit more, like, because I've been strict on my diet. And again, I do think the med changes helped a lot. Having that nurse listen to me, I'm able to do more, which is increasing my appetite, and it's increasing my will to want to try to maybe gain a little weight again and to increase my strength. So I might try little barbells. I've been walking around more, and so that's how I'm doing. So it's really interesting. Hospice can be a roller coaster. It doesn't have to be where you go to die. It can be where you go to live your best life until you don't have life left. So that's how I'm doing. I'm doing actually really well right now. With that said, the cancer is still in my sternum and in my lungs. But when I get up and when I move around, the symptoms of not being able to breathe very well, which is my number 1 right now, they dissipate a little bit more because my lungs are getting more exercise to try to expand and collapse, because when you're sitting and you're breathing really shallow, they don't get exercise. And then when I feel better, now I lost a lot of muscle, so now that I've been walking around a little bit more, hopefully I can increase that. One of the things that I've had to do is let go of any timeline that I think might happen. And any doctor who says you have 6 months will tell you on the side they really don't know. My hospice nurse has said she's had hospice patients on hospice for years. And every time I think, this is it, I'm going to die, it goes right out the window. So you really don't know. So the good news is that as of, and it really did start, I would say last Saturday, but a lot of that was, again, the med changes and then me being strict with my diet and what I eat. And I also do, I say it every single time, keep my notebook. Because that really does help me know what medications are working and which ones are not. So because I had the med change, because I had a nurse listen to me, I'm actually doing well. I'm on a rally. So my goal right now is to increase my strength, maybe increase my appetite a little bit, and stay around for a little bit longer. Or a lot longer. Who knows? No one can really tell. So that's how I'm doing this week, and I hope you're having a great week. The other thing I do want to say before I go is I have this wall of cards, and I have a whole bunch of people who've been praying for me. I'm starting to really believe in this power of prayer and the sending of good wishes, but also my own mindset as well. So I do believe that mindset and being connected to all of these people is also what's helping me rally. So thank you so much for everyone who's volunteered to cook a meal or come up and cook a meal, for the people who've come to visit. I found I don't like to be alone, and I've really gotten to learn more about people and their stories. I keep telling anyone who visits me, I would really like to hear your story rather than watch TV or do anything else. And that's made me feel really connected to people. So I think that's another thing that's really helped me rally. So thank you to everybody who is sending out prayers, who contact me, because I do think it is working. Now, is it going to work for a miracle? Probably not. I don't know. But it is at least extending my time. So thank you so much. Good morning. Or whatever time of day it is for you when you're watching this. I'm going to do a part 2 to my Wednesday weekly update. It is Wednesday. Yeah, August 13th, 2025. When you're in hospice, you have to kind of keep track of the dates because you lose the time. And the reason why I'm doing this is to show just how quickly things can change when you're on hospice. So I think I just said that I've been having a rally where I am feeling great, and that's still true. That's one thing that has not changed. I actually feel physically really good right now. But one of the things that took me by surprise within 24 hours, because again, hospice, you just don't know. You know, it's a roller coaster. So again, physically I'm feeling really good. So that's good. But one of the things that I'm finding is I haven't actually eaten real meals for a very long time. You know, a month or more. I've been living off of applesauce and soup maybe, and a little frozen bananas. The chocolate, those are kind of my favorite treat. But starting Saturday, I was able to eat like a little piece of lasagna, which was a huge treat. I think I had that on Monday as well. I still wasn't as tired, but one of the things that I found, I had such a rally yesterday again that I actually cooked a meal for my family. I made shrimp fried rice. And what I find is when I'm actually eating a real meal, again, which I haven't been able to do, let's say, for a month or so, more than a month, I don't know, it's been a long time. It took me about 10 hours to digest that meal. My pattern had been, I'd been wide awake because of the steroids, and I'd been getting like average sleep, like, 8 hours or so at night. I would come down at night around 8:39, and I'm making cards for people for when I pass, and that's just a nice quiet activity I do at night. And then I'll watch like a nature show and fall asleep. But last night, after I ate my meal, like a real meal, I fell asleep like right away. And so that was like probably around 4 or 5 p.m. And I slept till 7 p.m. And then I found myself kind of going in and out of sleep until like 9:30 p.m. And I thought I was going to be up making my cards and stuff again, but I was so tired that I just went to bed right away again. And here it is 3:30, and I may or may not be able to go back to sleep at this point, but I just thought that that was really interesting, that when I lost my appetite, I was having trouble sleeping because it didn't take a lot to digest my food. I mean, applesauce and soup is pretty easy to digest. So now you add more complex calories, and all of a sudden it's taking me 10 hours to digest. It's kind of like my body can either be awake or it can digest, but it can't do both. So that's just part 2 that I find kind of interesting. But once it is actually digested, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling wonderful. So that's just kind of an interesting little tidbit that I thought that I'd throw at the end. You just never know what kind of energy you are or are not going to have. But I do feel very relaxed. I feel calm. I'm not in pain. But it was just interesting because the last week I probably had not slept a ton, and now all of a sudden within 24 hours, like I had to sleep 10 hours just to digest a meal. So anyway, I just wanted to add that part too, that when you're on hospice, you just have no clue how you're going to be and when. But anyway, the main point is that I'm still feeling good. I'm still having a rally. And one of the things that I'm trying to do, and I talked to my caregivers yesterday and to my mom who's visiting, I'm going to try to increase my muscle mass when I can, when I'm awake. So we bought like little mini barbells and a resistance band, and getting up and maybe trying to do whatever I can when I can. And again, it's always about balance too, because I do sit probably more than I get up and walk around, but I do want to get up and walk around and build up my strength a little bit. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting and I wanted to share. And again, I think I ended my last one with how I'm really believing in the power of prayer and how all of these well wishes really do seem to be helping. That, along with my own mindset, my nurse who's wonderful, and being strict. I'm still kind of strict on the diet, still trying to eat those softer foods. But yeah, between all of those things, it seems to be working. And a friend of mine, I don't know, I'm from the 80s, so some of you younger people won't remember this, but there was an old video game called Pole Position, and when you reached a certain, it was like a race driving game, and when you reached a certain point, it would say time extended. And so that's where I am right now. Anyway, I just wanted to show the difference between sometimes I might be wide awake and that kind of thing, but then it was a surprise to me that for the first time in a long time, that I was actually super tired enough to go to bed at a normal time, even with a 4-hour nap. So I can either digest or be awake. But the good thing is if I'm digesting and I'm taking in more of these calories, hopefully I'll start building up a little bit of muscle again, because I have atrophied a lot. So now my goal is to increase the muscle mass as much as possible while still resting and balancing, and still really starting to believe in these powers of prayer and well wishes. So again, thanks again, and I will see you next Wednesday.